We are now heading further south along the east coast of Florida, heading towards Miami, which we skirt round the edges of, heading into Key Biscayne, and then down into Blvd's Cape Florida State Park to have a look at Cape Florida Lighthouse. Blvd's 1923 to 1969. Blvd was a self-educated small-town boy from Georgia, a World War II veteran who rose to become editor of the Miami News from 1957 through 1969. He envisaged a state park at the tip of Key Biscayne instead of the condominium development that was planned. Baggs used his prestige and charm and the front page of his newspaper to convince the landowner, Mrs. Garcia, to sell her land for half its value. Baggs then convinced state and federal leaders to set aside funding to purchase Mrs. Garcia's land for a public park. Cape Florida State Park opened to the public on New Year's Day, 1967. The Lighthouse Restoration Timeline, 1825 to 1996. 1825, lighthouse built, brick tower, 65 feet tall with wooden stairs. 1846 to 1847, lighthouse rebuilt with cast iron stairs. 1855, lighthouse tower raised from 65 feet to 95 feet. Cast iron stairs extended. Second order Fresnel lens installed. 1866, lighthouse repaired. 1966, lighthouse purchased by the state of Florida. 1968 to 1970, lighthouse renovated. 1996, lighthouse restored to 1855 specifications. In 1855, these large metal parts were cast from red-hot liquid iron, poured into moulds to form the staircase, balcony, roof and support for the lens. The large lens room before you was manufactured from thinner and stronger steel in 1970 and replaced the original cast iron top. During our second restoration in 1996, we recast the entire tower in iron using the original design drawings. We lit the tower with a flashing electric lantern inside a 30-inch tall Fresnel lens. The Kristen Jacobs Coral Reef Ecosystem Conservation Area. This conservation area, also referred to as the Coral ECA, is the northernmost section of Florida's coral reef and runs 105 miles from the St. Lucie Inlet to the northern boundary of Biscayne National Park. The Coral ECA is part of the only barrier reef system in the continental United States and is home to more than 6,000 species of marine life, including fish, stony corals, soft corals, sponges, and other marine invertebrates. Among the oldest creatures on Earth, sea turtles have remained virtually unchanged for more than 100 million years. These ancient reptiles can be found in almost all the world's oceans. Of the 7 known species, all but the flatback navigate the waters of North America. Cape Florida Lighthouse, built 1825. Its first keeper was a John DeBose. The lighthouse was attacked and burnt by Seminole Indians 1836. Remained out of service until 1847, when it was rebuilt, this time with an iron staircase. Then it was sacked and put out of action in 1861 by Southern soldiers in the Civil War. Back in service 1866. Then it was extinguished 1878 when Fowey Rock Lighthouse was built offshore to replace it. The first keeper there was a John Frow, who was moved from Cape Florida Lighthouse. And briefly relit between 1978 to 1992. In 1992, Hurricane Andrew caused severe damage to Cape Florida Lighthouse and its keepers' dwellings. It was then extinguished until it had lots of restoration to get it back in service in 1996. So now you have the added benefit of being able to once again visit this lighthouse. We were relocating further south on this holiday, and we hit this lighthouse on one of the days it wasn't supposed to be open. We later found out it was closed anyway for more renovation work which was going on up, replacing some lantern glazing. Luckily 3 people stepped up and allowed us to use their footage to complete this as a more interesting video. Those people were once again Ralph Krugler, and then Lee Mackey and Neil Hurley with his video clips. Head keepers that served at Cape Florida Lighthouse. John DeBose, 1825 to 1836. Reason Duke, 1846 to 1852. Temple Pent, 1852 to 1853. Robert R. Fletcher, 1853 to 1855. Charles Barron, 1855 to 1859. Simeon Frow, 1859 to 1861. Temple Pent again, 1866 to 1868. John W. Frau, 1868 to 1878. Then you have the first assistants, John Christian, 1850. Robert Fletcher, 1853 to 1855. Nicholas Adams, 1855 to 1856. John Christian, 1856 to 1857. John Bramman, 1857. Robert Lowe, 1857. John R. Paynter, 1857. Charles W. Russell, 1866. Joseph Copley, 1866 to 1867. Samuel Jenkins, 1867 to 1868. Simeon Frau, 1868, 1878. Second assistants, Charles F. Salas, 1866. Charles W. Trumbull, 1866 to 1867. John W. Frau, 1867 to 1868. Charles Frau, 1868 to 1869. And Joseph Frau, 1869 to 1878. This by no means is the definitive list of keepers that have served at this lighthouse. These are purpose-built replicas of the lighthouse keeper's cottage and kitchen to serve as a museum. The circular-looking object in the grounds with the drain pipes leading into were, like most lighthouses, used for storage of water. It was rainwater gathered from the roof and directed into the cisterns, and it was used for washing, cooking and drinking.